Hello, everyone, and welcome back to yet another Bird Brothers podcast. I am your host, Falcon, and this week I am once again joined by my best pal, Condor. How are you doing today, Condor?
It's not like you would be joined by anybody else, Falcon. Yes, it is I, the Condor, ready to talk about another an anime that is very special to Falcon's heart.
It is.
Isn't that right, Falcon? Tell us what anime we are talking about.
We are watching this week Kuroko's Basketball, specifically the first season.
We're not watching. We already watched it.
Yeah, we already watched it. Yeah, whatever. You know what? Just getting all over everything, Condor, messing it up.
We were just talking about how Falcon works 48 hours.
I worked a lot this week. Anyway, but we still got it done because Kuroko is in my top 3 favorite anime of all time.
Banner anime.
Yeah, it's one of our banner animes. We're getting one done, which leaves 3 if you count Ruby as an anime. Which
it is an anime.
We'll talk about Ruby anyway because we just like it. Who cares? It's close enough regardless. But so we're talking about it. I really like it. I'm wearing my Kuroko jersey for those of you audio listeners.
I'm not.
Because we're so far behind on the video ones, who knows when that will actually go up. But hey, it's cool. It's cool. It's sports anime, really popular actually.
It is a very popular anime. Yes.
Is surprising.
When did Kuroko's Basket come out, Falcon? You should know that.
I know the anime came out in 2013. I don't remember when the actual manga came out. I don't remember how long it was. Let me look that up real quick.
And while you're watching that up, I should mention that me and Falcon here, originally when the anime came out, it came out subbed. But recently, mostly the reason why we decided to watch it was because the anime came out dubbed recently on Netflix. So me and Falcon both promised to watch it both dubbed. So we basically could get an opinion of the dub. We'll talk more about that later. Falcon, Have you found out when the series came out?
So I'm not finding the original publication date, but the first volume, like tankobon, came out in 2009. So and that was April. So probably 2008 is probably a good estimation, like mid to late 2008.
This series is 12 years old.
It is.
It is old.
It literally, if it came out 2008, 2009, it literally came out my senior year of high school. In Japan, which is fun to watch. Yeah, I was watching this all throughout college. This was like my jam. Every time Kuroko came out, I did nothing but watch Kuroko like immediately. But yeah,
you started to play basketball too, right? You played basketball?
No, I don't play basketball.
What?
If you wanted to watch me play basketball, you would be very depressed. Let me just say that.
I would just go immediate to depression, not even sadness.
I'm very much like Kuroko in that way, except I don't have godly passes. But yeah.
What? Oh,
and I was incorrect. Man. The anime started in 2012, not 2013. That was a folly.
Thank you for correcting yourself. At least you're not pissing off all the sports fans.
Yeah, I'm not pissing off all the sports fans.
Well, Falcon, why don't you give us a little description on the series of Kuroko's Basket?
Of course. So, Kuroko's Basketball is about a basketball player named Kuroko. Yeah, it's about basketball, really. That's all you need to know. No, it's about this guy, Kuroko Tetsuya. He was on this legendary middle school team called the Generation of Miracles, Teiko Middle School. It was a team that had 5 prodigies on there. They always dominated every game. They always won. They never lost. Not even by just barely winning. They demolished everybody. Kuroko was the Phantom Sixth Man. He has no presence about him. He's just kind of there. But all the prodigies got really arrogant and stopped caring about basketball themselves. Really, they all just wanted to see who was better. So they split up. They all go to different high schools, Kuroko included, and they're trying to decide who is the best of the Generation of Miracles player. But they all care about focusing on themselves and just getting as many points as they can. They believe the only way they can move forward is to only play by themselves. Kuroko disagrees. He thinks that you have to play with the team and actually be friendly and whatnot and work together in order to be good at basketball. So Kuroko is trying to take down each other member of the Generation of Miracles to prove his basketball is the best way to play.
Boom! What a good description there, Falcon. When you were saying this description, it made me think of a funny story that happened while I was watching it.
Ooh, really?
Already get a little off topic. So basically, I was watching it, and my mom decides to call me because sometimes we chat a little bit.
Yeah.
And we were just chatting, and then she's like, "What are you doing?" "Oh, I'm watching basketball." "Oh, you're watching basketball? Really?" "Oh, yeah, of course. Why would I not be?" And she's like, "Oh, who's playing?" I said Seirin versus Toho, and she's like, Okay, goodbye. She hung up the phone on me.
That's great. Yeah, I was working at a Blockbuster when this was coming out, and we had a guy who'd started. Everyone I worked at the Blockbuster was into video games and like more like sci-fi nerdy movies. And we had this one guy who started, who was like huge sports guy, and he always wanted us to like meet up at bars afterward and to watch sports. And he always hated. He's like, well, so and so only likes basketball and football. So and so only likes hockey and basketball, so we'd have to watch basketball. But Luke doesn't like watching sports unless it's animated, so we'd have to try to get the bar to play some like animated. And like he kept trying to piece this together and was like calling bars to see what we could do, and we were like, dude, we're never gonna go like all together because we're all gonna be like, there was like 6 of us working there, so like we're not all ever gonna have the day off together to go do stuff.
That
like,
really
I'm in college, he has a kid, like it ain't gonna happen. But
bring
yeah,
the kid.
Yeah. Oh, he blames me for everything. That dude. He always like, I can't work today. My kid's sick. And it's like, what's wrong? Oh, he's sniffling a lot. Be like, he's probably fine. Get to work. But yeah, it was.
But he could have a type B sickness. Yeah.
No, this dude just made excuses to get out of work all the time.
He
called out sick one day, and he's like, "Hey, can you cover? I'm really sick." I was like, "Yeah, no problem." So I cover for him, and then he shows up to work to rent a movie later, and it was like, "Dude, what the hell?"
What?
Yeah. Yeah, like one day I called, I was like, hey man, I think I have strep throat, I'm going to the doctor. If I do, would you be able to cover my shift tonight? He's like, well, as long as you cover my shift tomorrow. I was like, well, if I'm not contagious tomorrow, I can. He's like, okay, just let me know. And then like I was still contagious the next day. So I was like, hey man, I can't. He's like, well, I'm in Nashville. You're gonna have to figure something out. I'm like, what? And like I called the manager. She's like, don't worry, I'll fix it. I was like, all right, we're good. But yeah.
Wow.
Anyway, random
honestly,
Blockbuster off topic.
The people who just like call out and then go into their job the same day are just the stupidest people. No offense to like anyone who does that who's listening, but like honestly, you need to like think out your plan more. You never know who's gonna be there. Like you could go there one day and like the big boss could be there and they'll be like, hey, aren't you supposed to work today? And you could get in trouble for that. Maybe lose your job, maybe lose hours. So
I mean, even if you weren't going
if you're
to
gonna
job,
call out, think it through more.
If you're gonna call out, stay at home too, because like you could call like I'm sick and then go to like Walmart and then your manager is off duty or their shift's over and they see you. I'm gonna be like, aren't you sick? And be like, oh,
that's when you start.
Yeah, that's when you start coughing. Like I'm just getting medicine. Yeah. Anyway,
you're getting medicine in the meat department. Yeah. Off topic, police.
Anyway, back on topic. Like we said earlier, this came out subbed and it aired 2012 to 2015 over here, and then it never got dubbed until this year.
Was it
Netflix?
This year?
Yeah, like it didn't come onto Netflix till this year, and this was the first time we've ever heard a dub of it, which makes me very happy because I was always emailing like anime people trying to get them to like, even if they didn't dub it, to just release it on Blu-rays over here because I wanted to buy it. But no one ever did, and now Netflix of all people are the ones who ended up dubbing it for us. So thank you, Netflix. But that also leads to the question: we have both watched it dubbed and subbed. Condor, which do you prefer?
Why do you gotta ask me such difficult questions?
You were the one who came up with the question. I'm just asking it.
The sub 100%.
Do you?
The dub was good. It wasn't bad. It wasn't amazing. It was good. I haven't watched the sub in so long, but I remember really feeling like the action's more in the sub than the dub. You know what I really didn't like? You know Tepe. Remember Tepe, the guy who the character, basically one of the seniors who comes back from the hospital afterward.
Yeah,
he's technically the guy who played center before Kogane does.
Right.
His voice did not sound right to me.
There were a couple that didn't sound right to me. Tepe was one, and then what little we heard Akashi speak. Akashi did not sound like a high schooler. That voice did not match up with how Akashi looks. I got what they were going for, and I won't say why because that spoils Akashi's whole thing from season 3.
I like Kuroko's voice. Kagame's voice was okay. Kisei's voice was good. Midorima's voice was good. Almane's voice was okay too. But other than that, I really can't. The pink-haired girl who appeared, her voice was weird a little bit. If I remember correctly, she only really talked.
Yeah, she doesn't talk a lot, but I thought it was fine. Kuroko's voice, I feel like, is really good. I feel like he's
Kuroko's
the one
voice
that they really nailed. Like, I'm not going to say there couldn't be a better Kuroko voice, but I really enjoyed it.
I would
personally
be a perfect Kuroko voice. Can you hear my Kuroko voice? I am
you
talking
would not be a
in
good
right
Kuroko
now.
voice.
Well, you wouldn't be a good anything.
I know, right? Like Kuroko is my favorite, arguably one of my favorite anime characters of all time. But even like if someone was like, "Would you want to voice Kuroko?" I would probably say yes, but then I'd be like, "Why?" I would do a terrible job voicing Kuroko. I would be better off as like Izuki,
and then you
who's just there to make puns and then be like, "I can see everything." Hey, but yeah, I like Izuki too much. I bought his character CD. And he's not important enough to even get him talk on the characters episode of this podcast. So
he's not, unfortunately. we'll mention him.
I feel like they get more time to shine in like season 2 and 3. So I feel like there we have less new characters coming in.
Well, technically we did the same thing with Fire Force.
Where
for season 2, we talked about some characters that appeared in season 1 because they had more focus, like Joker. If we eventually do watch season 2, whenever you or I want to watch it, and we can mention, obviously we're gonna mention the purple hair guy and Akashi. But if we feel like any of the other characters stood out more, then we can mention them as well. Season 2s are meant to be longer anyway, in my opinion. So more to cover. For character wise, that is. Jeez, so many characters we talked about for season 2.
Yeah,
well, we could just like stem over, like Kuroko's the same, blah blah blah. But that's not the point. But yeah, I like the sub better. I mean, I haven't watched the sub recently, but from what I remember, the sub was better.
I listened to a few clips, and I remember. I do agree. I think the sub is better, but I think the dub is actually very good. There's just a few casting choices that don't really match up that great, but otherwise, I think it was fine. I
did not like Teppei's voice at all.
I mean, Teppei, yeah, I'm not a huge fan, but also he was never supposed to be super serious, so he's kind of got this almost like goofy kind of voice to him. It's just like really laid back, but almost just like sounds like he's always joking about everything he says. Which is a little weird.
He sounded a little flirty to me.
I could see that.
That is why I did not like it. I could understand like the goofball aspect, but goofball and flirty are two different things.
True.
Well, anyway, Falcon, you said you had a surprise question for me. Why don't you ask it right now, huh?
Oh, so if you end up watching this on Netflix, there's something very surprising you will find. This is rated mature.
This is rated mature
for language. And like, I don't know, I didn't notice very much language at all. There'd be like a damn or a hell in there every once in a while. And then there's one part they're about to drop an F-bomb and you hear the F sound and then just a bleep noise. I don't know why you decided to rate this mature. There's nothing in this really that makes it stand out that way. So I don't know if I was the only one who thought that way, or if you noticed more to it than I did.
I definitely noticed the rated M like right away. Like when I always look at that stuff before I go into an anime or a show. I'm like, yeah, this is rated M, MA. I don't remember this being very mature. Maybe it's the fact that there's like half naked guys with sweat all over them. Possibly. I think it said partial nudity in the rating. I don't remember.
The one episode where you see like Momoli's legs when she's like taking a shower or something, but that's all you
see. Yeah, that was like
that was just like that's always been a really random scene. I'm like, why did we have to see that? But otherwise, yeah, like because that's the episode where we first meet her when she's spying on Seirin when they're doing the pool training. Because she's in like the dress they're putting on her bathing suit or whatever. But like every episode is rated mature just for language except for that one, which had like partial nudity in it.
Which is weird because I remember when we watched Made in Abyss, they rated each episode by episode. Yeah. I wonder how Kuroko...
Well, that was Amazon too, though. That wasn't Netflix.
Yeah. I said Amazon, right?
You just said they. You didn't specify.
Oh, I'm sorry. I meant when
make it clear.
Amazon Prime, when we watched Made in Abyss, Amazon Prime rated each episode by like rating for each episode. I wonder how Amazon Prime would do Kuroko's basket in that aspect. I'm interested to see that.
So there's no way this isn't more than like a teen rated show.
If there was a rating between teen and M, I'd say this would probably be that rating, but there isn't. Maybe. So that's how this cursing and the partial nudity with the sweaty men.
Probably. You broke up a little bit, so we just heard sweaty men, but that's fun.
Hey, perfect. Sweaty men.
Anyway, we'll get on to the characters now. Starting off, of course, with the main character, Tetsuya Kuroko.
Tetsuya Kuroko.
We've already said he was the Phantom Sixth Man of the Teiko High Generation of Miracles team. He started every game, but Kuroko has no presence. He has a very low sense of presence, and he
doesn't have
uses
any presence. Dang, I want a present from Kuroko.
Man, but he uses misdirection to even make sure that nobody notices him, just to do these like crazy passes, which confuses a lot of the other teams. But because of that, he has so little presence. He has like no game record. Nobody knows who he is. Like the fact you have so little game presence, they don't even know who's on the field or on the court to like have a game record. It's really weird.
It is pretty weird.
I think even the coach would be like, "Oh no, our number 11 was in the whole time. Here you go." But yeah,
he's right there. Don't you see him? Oh, he is right there. Wow.
He's very very quiet. Normally, has no presence. Really, very weak. His basketball fundamentals are trash. He can really only pass.
He can't shoot.
He can't shoot. He can't dribble.
Yeah, I was gonna say, can he dribble?
No, he can't dribble. He literally can just pass.
Oh. Wait, he just like boom, there you go, or he sometimes he'll do like a really super big pass. I forget.
Yeah, he'll do. I think it's called like the ignite pass. I think is what they call it.
Ignite pass, boom. The phantom pass, the ignite pass.
But yeah, something like that.
Thank you, Mr. Kuroko. You're the best.
Mm-hmm.
I wish I was the Kuroko basket.
Oh, do you? But he also doesn't joke around much. He's always pretty serious. Even if he says something that sounds like he could possibly be joking, he'll tell you he's bad with jokes. He can also kind of be what's the word I'm looking for? I don't think he does it intentionally, but ignite pass is right. Huzzah! I was correct.
Huzzah! Ignite pass. You're so smart.
But he can almost be like kind of condescending or sarcastic. I don't think he does it like intentionally, but there's some times where he'll say things that just really pisses off the other characters, and he doesn't understand why he's pissed them off. So he doesn't have the most amount of social awareness in the world.
Oh wow, the wiki has like a stat thing where it's like physical ability, technique, stamina, mental strength, and special ability. That's kind of cool. Oh Indeed. Boy. But yeah, the problem with Kuroko, I don't think you mentioned this, is the longer he's out there, the more his presence will be known because people will get used to his presence. So usually what the Seirin team does is they kind of take him out after the first half is over so they can like recharge his like energy, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think they say in one of the first episodes he has a time limit of 40 minutes, I think. Then after 40 minutes, his misdirection isn't guaranteed to work. It doesn't say that it won't work, but he gets seen more often. That's
true. He does get seen more often, which is not a good thing. Nope. That is why they take him out. Other than that, he's a guy with light blue hair. He's kind of short. Honestly, in the first scene, when the coach, the girl whose name I forget because she's not important.
Rico.
Rico. Oh, you mean the girl from Made in Abyss?
No, better Rico.
Because this Rico girl has like the ability to like look at people's stats. It's kind of weird. I don't know how it works, but it works. She's like, this guy literally is not built for basketball at all. Yeah, boom, phantom pass, boom, ignite pass, boom, spoiler. Can't talk about that yet.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite jokes early on is the fact they just don't notice them. Like he signs the form on the table where all the basketball team is. Like, oh wait, who is this other guy that filled out a form? And on his special notes section, he just wrote, "I was here the whole time." And they're like, "What?" And then they go.
That's the first so spooky.
Yeah. So Rico will talk about that too. She sees all the stats because her dad's a personal trainer, and she's always like gone to work with her dad. So she's used to like pointing out where people excel, where they need to improve just by looking at them. So they translate that into the show of like she's seeing essentially their stats in terms of like numbers and ability and percentages. So I don't think she genuinely sees like the little gauges and stuff. Like she can look and be like, okay, he's really strong here and this and whatnot. But yeah, she looks at Kuroko and it's like, what? But they don't even notice him there. Like they're like, is that everybody? Oh, this Kuroko guy must not have shown up. He's like, I'm right here. And they're like, what? He's like, when'd you get here? I was here the whole time. Like it's like, what are you talking about? Like I've been here since everyone else was. But that's a recurring joke for a while.
That is a recurring joke. I'm sure it sticks between this seasons 2 and 3 and possibly the movie. I've actually never watched the movie, so
I haven't watched the movie either because when it first came out, I couldn't find it to watch anywhere. And it's one I need to get back to, but then I got busy enough and it's not happened. I need to make it happen soon because I really want to watch it. But well,
just as a heads up, do you remember how many episodes season 2 and season 3 are? Are they both 26 episodes as well?
I think so. I think all 3 seasons are 26, but I'm not 100% certain. They're all at least 24.
I'll check that. real
But
quick.
also another recurring joke with Kuroko is that he's so small and tiny that a lot of people mistake him as a child.
That is true. Who let this child on the field?
I forgot the name.
Oh, it's on
That guy's-
Crunchyroll.
Oh, is it? Sweet.
The
I'll just
movie's
watch
on
it there then.
Crunchyroll.
Because when it first got picked up, I was checking Crunchyroll to see if they'd get it, and they weren't getting it originally. And at the time, season 3 of Kuroko wasn't even on Crunchyroll. It was on the now closed daisuki.net. So you had to watch it there. So when I was checking Daisuki, and they weren't getting it, and it was just kind of up in the air as to who was actually going to be getting it. Then I never heard anything else eventually. But yeah, even one of the first people to call Kuroko a child was he's a foreign exchange student from Senegal. I want to say his name.
Oh, that really tall
Mitobae,
guy.
I think they call him Dad.
They called him Dad. That was kind of funny. The show kind of hyped him up to be big, but he wasn't really that big.
Well, I mean, the whole thing was he was picked by this like low tier school because he was so big they could just like pass the ball to him and he could score. But the rest of their team was trash. So if you could like make it to where he can't play, yeah, they just lost. Yeah, I think his name was like Papa something Mbabe or something like that.
He's not
but they just called him Dad because they're like, oh, Papa, that's like Dad. Izuki is a pun guy.
Dad.
Yeah, thanks, Dad. But yeah, Kuroko gets ticked off because the guy, Dad keeps saying he's a little kid and they need to get the kid off
Did
the
he
court
like
and
pick
blah,
him
blah, blah.
up? He picked him up.
He
too.
does. He's like, you're so tiny, and it pisses Kuroko off. Like this is the first time we ever see him just either like not happy or not just stoic. He's just
usually
like,
he's just like not. He's
just blank faced most of the time. Yeah, he's ticked off, and even like everyone's like, he actually looks pissed for a change. Whoa, and it's like they just wrecked that team, and it's just like, all right, but yeah, it was. That was such a good one. I like that part so much.
I'm glad you did.
Anyway, anything else we need to talk about Kuroko with, or should we move on to?
Let's see. Well, the wiki has tons and tons and tons and tons and tons and tons of trivia facts about him. So let's at least mention one of them.
Okay.
In the Q&A section in the manga, it is revealed that Kuroko was 155 centimeters tall upon entering Teiko. Kuroko lives in a small house with his father, his mother, and his grandmother. Kuroko's best subjects are classical Japanese and modern Japanese. He dislikes cola, and he inherited his mother by looks and her invisibility, while he got the characteristics from his father. And those are, I guess, some fun facts about our main character.
He's also on the school's library committee.
Oh, is he now?
Yeah. I'm looking at it now. It actually says his best courses are humanities, history, and geography.
Oh, yep. Well, the Q&A section says differently, so I don't know. That's
who knows?
That's a little problem. I guess we should move on unless there's something else you want to talk about.
No, I think that's all we need to say about Kuroko right now. So let's move on.
Let's take this chance. What number is on your outfit? What number do you have for Seirin?
11.
Oh, of course. You're Kuroko, but I can see you, so you're not Kuroko.
Yeah, I'm not Kuroko.
So I guess we should move on to the next character of the Seirin team.
The light to Kuroko's shadow, Mr. Taiga Kagami.
Taiga Kagami.
Condor, tell us a little bit about Taiga Kagami.
He is a bully. No, I'm kidding. Kagami no, he's not a bully. I was just joking. He looks like a bully from first appearances, to be completely honest with you. But that's fine. That's understandable. He's from America. Americans are bullies. Kagami is very muscular for a high school student. He is very tall, giving him an overwhelming aura, which some say is like the intensity of a wild tiger, which I can kind of see that way if you kind of look at him. It's kind of a little scary. He has a two-toned dark red hair. He has two-toned dark red and black hair and red eyes. His eyes are pointed and narrow and his eyebrows are quite thick and split in two. He is number 10 on the Seirin team and wears black and red basketball shoes, just so you people know.
I like that you're just reading off what his appearance.
Shut up! Leave me alone. Leave me alone. Stop it.
Did you even watch the show?
I like paid half attention to it. Okay, it's just basketball. Okay, they shoot the ball in the hoop. That's the show. Leave me alone. Okay,
Such
no.
disrespect.
But basically, he basically wants to be like the very best basketball player. I don't think was he born in America or was he born in Japan? And then
They don't say where he was born. We just know that he has been in America and has come to Japan. Whether that's coming back to Japan or whether he was born there, we don't really know.
I think the sports anime weekends are always so damn long. I'll tell you that. But basically, he wants to be like the very best at basketball. He wants to keep doing his best.
He keeps hearing about how great these Generation of Miracles players are and decides he wants to beat them because they can't be that good. So he and Kuroko team up to take them down because Kuroko cannot do it alone, and Kagami has the potential to be just as good, if not better.
He does. Kuroko tells us about the Generation of Miracle. He's like, "Oh, those guys? Well, I want to be better than them." God, it kind of sounds.
Oh, how Kuroko just flat out tells him the first time, he's like, "Right now, no, they mop the floor with you." Like, but you could be. And that takes Kagami off.
But basically, Kagami likes a good challenge as well. He's up to a challenge. When he fought Kisei in the first match, he's like, "Oh, this is just getting excited. I'm just getting started now."
He doesn't like playing against weak players. He likes having a challenge. He doesn't want it just to be that he wins all the time.
Yep.
So
he'll do anything it takes. Well, not anything it takes, but he'll do what he can to like improve upon himself to be better. You know. He's his motto is eat well, play well.
I mean, he eats
devour
like
a crap ton of food as well. Like, geez,
they got thrown out of that
they showed
steak
the
place. Yeah, he's always eating in the openings, but they even after their first win, they end up going to this. They all want to go out to get food to celebrate, but they're all broke. So they find this steak place that has these huge steaks that if you win or if you eat it all within so much time, you get it free. But if you don't, then it's like 11,000 yen or something ridiculous.
Good old American stomachs.
So Rico orders one for everybody on the team, but tells them they have to finish it because they can't afford to not eat it. And they all are struggling. And then Kagami just eats everything that everybody lacked. And they get thrown out and banned from the restaurant from ever coming.
Why?
Because of how much Kagami ate. Yeah, I love it. They're all struggling. And then you see Kuroko takes like 2 bites, just like, I can't do anymore. And they're all like, what? And then Kagami just like eats the rest of it. Yeah,
he does have a big appetite, but his favorite food is cheeseburgers, as you could tell from like the time
the season 1 opening. Yeah.
Also, all the times in the beginning where he would talk with Kuroko in the fast food place. But I like Kagami. He's pretty cool.
Kagami's cool. He's the more typical like anime protagonist character.
That's right.
He and Kuroko, you could argue either one. He's technically the main character. Kuroko's the title, but Kagami's more the focus.
That's true. It's like Legend of Zelda. The focus is Link. You know. Right.
I feel like this one they're more even hand. Just Kagami's like the one 50, who has to really grow more than Kuroko does. There's only so much Kuroko can do.
Kagami is light and Kuroko is shadow.
Even though the brighter Kagami shines, the darker Kuroko is.
Even though if you look at Kuroko and Kagami, you'd think Kagami would be the shadow.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah. That's just my opinion. What do you think about good old Kagami, Mr.
Kagami's good. We didn't say he's very stubborn as well. He's very ambitious for wanting to continually improve, and he always wants to have a challenge, but he's also super stubborn as well. It's hard for people to get him to like understand things. But he's also super determined. There's the whole part in the beach training where Rico tells him he has to get drinks for the team, but he has to run on the beach the like 500 kilometers or whatever to a certain convenience store and bring them back 1 can at a time. And you find out he does that for days, but then she realizes she doesn't know why it takes him so long, but instead of just getting drinks for his team, he was also getting drinks for the opponent's team as well. So like 4 days straight, he does nothing but like run back and forth to this convenience store to buy 1 drink at a time for, at that point, probably 20 to 30 people. I don't remember how many people are on Shutoku's team. But yeah, so he's just going back and forth doing that over and over again because she didn't tell him not to get it for everybody, even though she was just intending for, you know, their team to have drinks when they got done playing. But Kagami's one too that's more fun to talk about later because we find out more about his backstory.
That's true.
I
wouldn't say that he didn't neglect him, but they gave him.
Oh no,
Obviously.
But we get some new characters in season 2 who really, I feel, help flesh Kageme's personality
New
out more.
characters in a basketball anime? No way.
Right? Yeah.
I'm going to watch Slam Dunk.
I still haven't watched Slam Dunk. I need to. But yeah, so he gets more depth than just being that stubborn, intimidating, fierce, really strong basketball guy.
But he's afraid of dogs.
I mean, he is afraid of dogs.
And ghosts.
And ghosts. This is true.
It says so in one of the novels.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I've literally skimmed the trivia page and I cannot say where he is born. Horrible. Horrible. Right. But you know what I did find out?
What's that?
His hobby is surfing. Isn't that weird?
Interesting.
Very interesting. But he's a pretty good main character, in my opinion. Just basically the type of character who wants to get better at his game, and he can jump really high. Actually, now here's a fun fact. His shoes might have been a call out to the very popular American basketball player, Michael Jordan.
Yep.
Kagami wears Michael Jordan's signature shoe, the Nike Air Jordan 1.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And a lot of people if you could say that Kagami might be based off of Michael Jordan, considering it's like crazy airtime that he shows off.
It's
because Kagami's power is he keeps jumping higher and higher. He has like crazy jumps, which is really cool.
Yep. Kagami does travel a lot in the game, which never really gets called out, which traveling is a foul.
I guess maybe it's different in Japanese basketball.
I mean, it's an anime. They're not going to call it out every time. If they need him to like run down the field to slant, like to dunk a ball, they're going to have him do it. Let's be real.
Maybe he just does it so fast the ref can't keep up.
And specifically on the trivia, it specifically mentions he does it in the opening.
The first match with Kisei.
Yeah. I don't. He does it some, I think, in the actual show, but I don't know if he does it enough to like be considered. But yeah. Do
you have anything else you'd like to talk about with Kagami?
Nah, I think we're so in one I think it's a game. I don't know if it's a game or if it's one of the specials. It's shown that Kagami is surprisingly popular with older women. They think he is. So, Kagami could get that older girl if he wanted.
But he prefers a girl who's elegant.
Right.
Anyway, so that doesn't work that way, right?
I mean, anything else you want to be saying? Or should we move on to the first generation of miracles?
He's very tall.
He is very tall.
The first generation of miracles? We already talked about Kuroko.
You can argue whether Kuroko actually was. He's considered their Phantom Sixth Man, but they talk about...
But he joined in the second year.
Yeah, but they talk about the generation of miracles and their Phantom Sixth Man. So I've always debated whether Kuroko is actually considered one of the generation of miracles.
I think
he's just considered like their assistant.
I would not call them their assistant. I think you're wrong.
Oof.
Get out.
Get out. All right.
Get out. You're not a real Kuroko fan.
Anyway, we're going to talk about Ryota Kisei next.
My favorite character in the show. After rewatching season 1, I have to say Mr. Kisei here is my favorite.
Mm-hmm.
He is a model. He used to be one.
He still is, I think. He focuses more on basketball during like the school season and then does modeling afterwards.
That's true. Let's pull up the page for Ryota Kisei. I really like his character a lot. Yep. He's very handsome.
Oh, you like that blonde hair?
I have blonde hair.
You do have blonde hair.
I do.
He plays for Kaijo High.
Kaijo.
They are a very well-known basketball school in Tokyo. I believe Kaijo is one of the 3 kings with Shutoku. And I just forgot the name of Aomine's.
Toho,
yeah.
I said it earlier. Seirin versus Toho.
Yeah. So he his unique thing is he's an extremely fast learner. He can watch someone do a move once and then usually replicate it, but even better, like a second later. So he was known as like the copycat prodigy. He could just copy anybody's moves, except for a couple of the people in the Generation of Miracles. We find out there's a few he could never copy. Like he couldn't copy Kuroko's because he's a model. He stands out. He likes being showy, and how Kuroko has to move, he can't copy it because he can't divert attention away from himself.
Everyone wants to keep looking at him. He has like a little fan club.
Everyone wants to look at him, and he wants everyone to look at him. So if he tried doing that, no one would care. They'd be looking at him. Well,
I'm looking at him, so
he calls everybody chi if he respects them. So pretty much everybody on the Generation of Miracles is like Kurokochi, Midorimachi, Aominichi, stuff like that. But he, I mean, he's very friendly. He really likes Kuroko. He genuinely considers Kuroko a friend. And he really wants Kuroko to come to school with him. He thinks it'd be fun if he and Kuroko were on the same team again. He enjoys playing with them. But Kuroko just can't stand his whole, who needs teammates? I'm just going to run up the score because I'm great.
I feel like if anybody out of the Generation of Miracles would want to work well with a team, it'd be Kisei. We actually get more of that near the end of season 1, where he starts to realize, hey, maybe working with a team ain't so bad.
Yeah, I mean, I think he says a quote at some part where he's playing a game later with Almine, and Almine makes some comment about it seems like you're starting to play Kuroko's basketball or whatever, and he just flat out says, like, I'm starting to come around to why he thinks that way. But he still is pretty much like, I'm not completely there yet, but I'm going to trust my team as much as I can while I try to dominate the majority of the time. Kind of like if he's in a pickle, he can trust his teammates might be able to help him out. But otherwise, he still pretty much focuses on himself, which is something sort of common whenever Kuroko beats somebody. They all kind of start to understand what he talks about without still like fully coming over.
It's like Naruto when he uses the talk no jutsu, right?
Right.
Maybe I was wrong this whole time.
Oh no. Oh no. But yeah, Kisei just has a fun personality. He's very charming.
He does have a really fun, very charming, very outgoing, very cool.
Very cheerful.
Very true. I really like his copy ability a lot. It's pretty cool. It's actually, again, as we mentioned, he can't copy everybody, but he can copy a lot of the good players. So that is a good thing. I like him because of his little character development he gets at the end of season 1. He's my season 1 boy, I'll say. And Kuroko's still a great character, but I feel like Kisei gets that little good character development. You know what I'm saying?
I hear what you're saying. Yeah, I like him a lot. Kisei's just fun. A lot of the Generation of Miracle players, I feel like they're cool and they're fun to watch, but they're not necessarily fun characters.
What do you mean, his team?
Not even just the team, just like their personality wise. I mean,
Kisei has a fine personality.
No, that's what I was saying. He's one of the few I feel like who is. The rest of them kind of whatever.
Sorry, I totally zoned out. Zone.
Zone. Oh,
but
we didn't hear the zone this season. Don't.
What you just mentioned it. I don't know what you're talking about. I just said
you
zone.
mentioned it first.
You the what? I just mentioned I zoned out, Falcon. I don't know what you're talking about.
You said I zoned out. Zone.
Yeah, because I zoned out. What are you talking about? It's not like anything called zone in this anime.
I see what you're doing, and I do not appreciate it. But anyway, moving on.
But did you know that if Kisei would have an alternate job, it would be a pilot?
I can see that. I can see him being a pilot.
Well, actually, in the Character Bible, which it is called Character Bible, I think the author draws a what-if scenario for each character. And it has Kisei as a pilot. You can actually look on the wiki under the trivia if you want to see it. It shows him as a pilot. They had Kogame as like a fireman. I think Kuroko as a teacher.
I can see that.
Oh yeah.
Let's see. His
favorite food is onion gratin soup.
Okay.
His type of girl is a girl that won't tie him down.
He also hates earthworms.
He does hate earthworms.
That's the most random thing to hate, but all right.
I mean, I'm sure somebody asked the author, hey, if Kisei would hate anything, what would it be? Oh, it would totally be earthworms. Thank you, author. I appreciate your time. But yeah, it was a Q&A, so that's how
apparently in the anime, in the manga, Kisei is a lot more cold-hearted than the anime. Apparently the author said that there's some match they did later. He wanted to pick Kisei isn't necessarily a good guy. In his opinion, the anime Kisei is a little too soft.
I guess I could see that.
I can very much see that, especially with how he's depicted a little more later on. That totally makes sense.
I guess you should read the manga.
I mean, I have all of it. I've just not gotten around to reading it yet.
Where is it? Take it out right now.
It's on my bookshelf that you can't see behind me. It's behind my mini fridge right there, you know.
You have how many volumes are there? 30?
There's 30, but it took us forever to get them over here. I kept emailing Viz all the damn time about it back in the day, and just kept getting those generic, like, responses like, "Thank you for letting us know. We'll take this into consideration. But as of right now, we have no, yada yada yada."
Do you hear that, Kuroko basket fans? It's all thanks to Final Falconberry right here.
No, I stopped after a while because I gave up.
Manga over in the US. You better thank him. You better like the podcast. You better follow. You better follow our freaking our social medias. Join the Discord server. I'm a sellout, and it's fine.
Anyway, no, it came out years after I had finally just given up hope, because at that point it had been a few years since it came out and we still hadn't heard anything, so I just figured they never were. Because sports anime used to sell, sports manga used to sell terrible over here. It wasn't until Kuroko and Haikyuu and Yawa Pedal came out, because they all started, I think, the same year or within a year or two of each other, that it actually like really picked up steam. But when they finally did release it, they're available here in 2 and 1 volumes, so you've got 15 total that cover all 30 volumes of the manga. Anyway, anything else we want to say for Kisei, or should we move on to our Shutoku boy?
I really did like Kisei. I'm excited because obviously I don't remember everything about season 2 and season 3, or I never watched the movie, but I'm excited to see more Kisei in the anime of season 2 if we ever watch it.
All right, that leads us on to
guy.
Shintaro Midorima. He was I don't even think it's arguably. He is probably the least popular of all the Generation of Miracles players.
You think so?
Yeah, I mean, I've never looked up character polls, but whenever I would like talk, like I was big on the forums and stuff back when this was airing, and like nobody ever talks about Midorima, which is a shame because he's actually one of my favorites. I genuinely like him. But he is the 3-pointer prodigy. No matter where he is on the court, he can pretty much make his shot
anywhere, even from like the other team's hoop.
Yeah, that was a twist. They thought he never really shot further than the 3-point line before, so everyone was like, "Oh, he just makes 3-pointers." But yeah, there's one part he's under the other team's hoop, makes a 5-point shot, and just finally is like, "You thought I could only make 3s? I can make a shot anywhere on the court." Like it. But yeah, his strategy in basketball is why do you need to be up close to get a 2-pointer when standing farther away and getting a 3 or a 5-pointer,
because it's more points,
is more effective with less risk, because who's going to expect you to shoot from that far away all the time?
No one.
He's very condescending. He's very reserved. He doesn't like jokes or fooling around. But he's also extremely superstitious.
Very extremely superstitious.
He reads his horoscope every day.
All the time. Yeah.
He always buys his lucky item, which I think the first time we see him, it's like a little frog, like coin pouch kind of type thing, and then later on, it's like a raccoon, one of those like raccoon statues.
The Tanuki statue. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think it's technically a Tanuki, but over here in the dub, they flat out said like raccoon something, and I was like, is it actually a raccoon or is it Tanuki? I don't know, and that doesn't matter. It's semantics, but he's always got something that he has as his lucky item. He has Takao always carry him around in this like push cart, so he doesn't have to like walk anywhere. He also tapes up his fingers because he's under the impression that if he doesn't take care of his fingers and nails, he can't make his shots. So whenever he's not playing, his fingers are always wrapped up in athletic tape.
Don't make your fingers look like this.
Yeah. But he also believes in like blood type a lot, and he is a blood type B. And that means he does not get along with blood type A's, which are Kuroko and Kisei. And because of that, he kind of doesn't really try to get along with them. He just assumes that no matter what, they're going to disagree and not get along. But he does admire Kuroko, even though he doesn't like Kuroko. Like, he'll flat out tell you, I do not like Kuroko, but I respect him.
Of course, you got to respect the skill he has, even if you don't like him personally.
Yeah,
and there's people who I don't like, but I respect them for like what they do. Obviously,
But he's extremely cocky as well. Like he's one of the few who's always just like he's like, oh, you can't beat me, and someone's like, maybe I can, and it's like, let's see. But Midori was one of the ones like, you can't stop me. Don't even bother trying. And then even after he loses, it's like, that was a fluke. Don't worry.
And then he lost. Like the loser he is, and then they had all the training games, and they kept winning.
Yeah, he very much viewed that loss as a fluke. Like, there's no way you actually beat me. I just didn't consider you a real threat, so I didn't play as hard as I should have. You know, like he very much will find some way to where it wasn't on
That is
him.
a big excuse. He took the match very seriously during the middle of the game, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't say that. I'm saying that's like his view on it. Is that like to himself to like?
I
calm
wasn't even
himself
using
down.
my full power.
If you thought that was all I could do, you were sadly mistaken. You know, I like walk away. He very much would say that.
Wait till you see my final form.
Mm-hmm. But Midorima is one we don't see a ton of a whole lot.
No, we do.
We see him, but he very much just shows up for like random little chit chats here and there. Out of all
you could say the same about Kisei. In fact, I think we got more Midorima than Kisei, in my opinion.
In the future of the series, Kisei way outshines Midorima, even in this season, because we had the first game against Kisei. We saw the game against Kisei and Aomine. Kisei shows up almost every other game Kuroko plays, or Midorima doesn't. He only shows up every once in a while. Midorima really only cares if it's a Generation of Miracles person playing Kuroko. Kisei doesn't care. Kisei just wants to see what's up. But Kisei is one of the most prevalent generation characters later on, and even in season 1. Midorima just kind of, we don't really get much with him past season 1 a whole lot. There's a little bit hair in season 3 we see, but season 2 he just kind of shows up to like say some snarky comment every now and then, if I'm remembering correctly.
Good old snarky guy.
Yeah. But that's why I kind of like him. Like, he's unapologetically that person, and he doesn't care. And he knows people don't like him because of it. He's like, I don't care. Like, does not care. He knows who he is, and that's who he is.
If Midorima had an alternate job, he would be a doctor. And then you can see a little picture of him as a doctor. It's actually looks quite cool in that outfit.
Mm-hmm.
He hates cats because he got scratched once.
That's a very Midorima. I used to like cats until one scratched me. Now I can't stand them. Like, all right. Gosh, I love Midorima so much. She's great.
That's great. Speaking of which, there is 3 character polls for this series. We will only be reading the first one because that actually goes perfectly with season 1 where it ends. But we will talk about that at the end of the characters, which we are on to our last character now, Falcon, and that would be the boy, the one, the only, Daiki Aomine from Kogane. That's what I said.
Aomine was the ace of the Generation of Miracles. He was viewed as the best, and he believes it. He also
he definitely
knows
believes
it. He knows that no one can beat him.
His catchphrase is literally "No one can beat me but me."
Yeah, the only one who can beat me is me. Yeah, he believes it. He does not care about his teammates. If they don't give him the ball, it's why didn't you give me the ball? Let me take the ball from you so I can score. Yeah, he does not care. He's very tan. His skin is like super tan. He's really the only one that has a like varying shade of skin tone. He's got that short navy blue hair. Yeah, he is just all around a beast. He goes in and out. He has a very odd way of moving, and that's what throws a lot of people off. He doesn't follow the typical like basketball form and conventions. He just does what he wants to do.
Hi, it's kind of weird. I'm looking at the skill thing. You know how like each character has like a skill thing?
Mm-hmm.
I was looking at the stats for Midorima and Kisei, and their stats are better than Aomine's.
Mm-hmm.
And they have better stamina than him, and some of them have better mental strength. That's so weird. I thought Aomine would be like a 10 all across the board, considering how hyped the anime
I could see mental strength not being great for Aomine because he blows his fuse all the time. Yeah, stamina you think as hard as he plays, you think like he would, unless like even when he runs out, he's just running on pure adrenaline, so it doesn't matter. But yeah, he's all in your face. He's gonna beat you down. He wants you to get demoralized by the end of the game. If he can't beat you by like doubling your score, did he even try? Like that's very much Aomine.
Basically, this whole thing started in middle school because he was so good. A lot of the other player teams would just kind of like give up.
Mm-hmm.
They just kind of just be like, "There's no point in playing because we're gonna lose," and they kind of demoralized him. And he didn't he thought, "What's the point in trying to be good? It's so fun and having fun and working with a team if I'm just so good."
Yeah, I mean, that's something that happened with all the Generation of Miracles players. They became so good, they just completely like destroyed their opponents. That half their opponents gave up. I think they mentioned that in the end of season 2 or beginning of season 3. there's a ton of players who just stopped playing basketball because there was no chance they would ever have a shot at beating any of those guys. And then when you have that thought in your head and then you're getting like your score tripled or even worse, like, yeah, that's going to suck. But it made him very much not give a crap. It's not fun. You even show up. He doesn't go to practice ever because he doesn't see the need to. He's late to the games. Doesn't even show up to the games he deems not important. He just
like in the
it.
first game against Seirin, he didn't show up to like the end of the second half.
Yeah,
literally a minute on the clock.
Because he was not worried about Kogane or Kuroko because
he did not care.
He tried that like one-on-one with Kogane when Kogane was injured, and Kogane was injured, so he couldn't do anything against him. So he's like, I can handle Kuroko easy. That Kogane guy is not all that everyone says
weak.
He is. Yeah,
he's a chump.
Everyone's like, he's great. Whatever, I got him, no problem. It's like he shows up like in the second half, but then they think he's gonna miss the game against Kisei because he's not there, and he shows up like right at the last second. He's like, "What? You thought I'd be late for this match? You all are crazy!" Like he very much prioritizes his matches who he's playing against.
He does.
How much fun or how much challenge it will be for him.
That is the truth.
And he also is one of those people. The longer he plays, the more intense he gets. If you're going to shut him down, you need to shut him down at the very beginning when he's not into it. Because once he gets in it, you're done. You might as well just leave. Anything else we want to say about him? I feel like we've kind of just said the same thing over and over again.
I just found something out really interesting, and I'd love to talk about it, but I don't think we can talk about it until season 2.
But we should say he's also like really good friends with Momoi. They've been like friends since they were like little kids.
Little tiny kids. Momoi is the sexy pig-haired girl.
Yeah,
who loves Kuroko because he gave her a popsicle stick.
That it was a winter popsicle stick. She could trade that in for her own popsicle. But yeah, she genuinely is in love with Kuroko and said she wanted to come to the school with him, but she knew that Aomine would need her wherever he was because he's really hard to wrangle in, and she's one of the few people who kind of can. So she went to school with him just because she felt the need to wait. Hold up, what is this?
Oh, you are looking at that. I will mention that Aomine's, if he were to choose another job, he would be a police officer.
That makes total sense.
And it shows a picture of him in a police officer outfit. It's actually pretty cool looking. Also, Aomine's he prefers types of girls with big breasts.
Go figure.
His hobby is looking up graveyard models, as you could tell from the beginning when he's like, "Oh, look at my magazines. I'll just get in them back."
Mm-hmm.
The player. Oh, that's why I don't think I should mention that. His favorite food is teriyaki burger.
Mm-hmm.
His shoe size is slimmer to Kagame's as well. Sorry, what were you going to say?
It seems that Aomine is somewhat based off a character from the Prince of Tennis.
Oh yeah, the
Keigo Atobe. He's one of like the players from one of the later arcs. I never got that far because I just never got around to finishing that manga.
Oh, here comes Aomine coming to arrest you.
Yeah, that's on my end, guys. But yeah, that's fun. Ooh, he also voiced somebody from Prince of Stride. I'll watch that show.
Whoa, guess what we're watching next week?
Oh, that guy. Prince of Stride was fine. It's nothing standout, but if you ever want to watch it, I'm down.
Aomine's favorite. Right. Did you know that Aomine's favorite actress is Marilyn Monroe? And his favorite basketball player is Allen Iverson? Oh boy, what interesting facts that we are learning about.
Apparently, unless you said this while I was looking at the other thing. The thing we've mentioned that we do not really need to mention because it doesn't happen until season 2. Apparently, Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan also believe in it.
That's the thing. I wanted to talk about that, but now you just ruined it.
Too bad.
Well,
we'll talk about it more in season 2.
I'm not going to get into it. I wanted to get into it as a discussion. I hate.
Do you want to?
We
still can.
Spoiler alert: Seirin wins the Winter High. Great, we ruined the whole show.
Oof.
That's your fault.
No, it's not.
The main characters win the thing, just like you expect. Let's go.
All right, so that's pretty much it for Aomine. I feel like anything else you want to add about it?
Aomine is a jerk.
Yeah, he really is.
He's
probably my least favorite Generation of Miracles character.
I want to give him a
because I just get annoyed whenever he's on the screen.
I like him. His skills are great to see. I enjoy seeing his skills.
He's great at basketball.
So you're just like Midorima. You don't like him, but you respect him.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I guess we're done with the main characters. Other than that, there's like the side characters that we've mentioned, like basically Seirin's team. Do
Mm-hmm.
you want to do a quick over thing about them, Falcon? Go ahead.
Sure. Yeah. So we've got Teppei Kiyoshi. He's injured for most of season 1, but he was the founder of Seirin's team. Seirin was a new school that had just opened up, and he gathered their team together to make it. He's very strange, and he's has like a title called one of the uncrowned kings. We won't actually talk more about that because it's not relevant yet. Just fun to throw out. Very spacey, but extremely good at basketball. We've got Junpei Hyuga. He is the captain of the team. He's their clutch player. He excels in like really clutch situations, and he also is like their best shooter. He's the one that's most likely going to get a 3-pointer off of their team. And then we have Shoon Izuki. He is, I forgot what his actual position is, point guard. He's the vice captain. He has the ability Eagle Eye. He can see pretty much everybody on the field, where they are and what they're doing and where they're around, to kind of help him keep track of the court and strategize where they need to be passing and playing at. He also is a lover of puns, and he is one of my personal favorites from the show.
Sashimi's not important.
I mean, he becomes a little important later on, but yeah, especially.
Yeah, they all do. All
really.
the characters in the Seirin team do. But
Otherwise, we've got Mitobae. He is one of their defense people. He's really tall. He never says anything. I think they literally say at the beginning, nobody's ever heard his voice. They've never heard him say anything. He just nods and kind of like shakes his head. Then we've got Kogane, who is a player who is actually really good at making shots from anywhere on the court, but his accuracy is just meh. So you give him the ball, he does kind of look like a monkey somewhat. he's like supposed to be like the comedy character on their team. You don't really ever take him seriously. And I always forget the other one's name, like Tsuchida, I think. He's also a defense player. He's just not as good as the others. So they put him in if they need to give one of the regulars a break. And then the 3 first years aren't really important ever. Furihara is, but not till season 3. They're just kind of there to have more first years.
Be like, oh, so this is what they're doing. Oh my God, this is so amazing. Basically, it's the commentary.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's what they exist.
They're the typical sports anime characters of the first years who aren't all that great, but are still on the team. So they just kind of give you commentary every once in a while.
Haikyuu didn't do anything like that.
Haikyuu didn't know. Prince of Tennis has it. Night in the Area had it.
What is Night in the Area based on?
Ooh, we need to watch that one. It's good. It's a soccer anime.
Ooh,
with a twist. It's very different. It never got finished. They did 36 episodes and it never got renewed for season 2. So it kind of is on a cliffhanger. I mean, I was still watching it. It's really great. I think there was a manga, but I've just never gotten around to reading it. But we really don't need to talk too much about the other team's people.
Do you want to mention? I know how much you love this anime, Falcon, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to mention the we should not mention Almanes yet, but do you want to mention Kisei and Midorima's partners, like their partners on their own teams a little bit, or no?
Well, we can.
Go ahead. It's the ball is in your court.
Kaijo High, Kisei's partner is Yukio Kasamatsu. He is the captain, I believe. Yes. He is a 3rd year. He's just a very good player. He keeps everyone in check. I don't think he ever actually really excels in like one thing. He's just kind of an all-arounder. He very much is one of the few people who can kind of get Kisei to listen and obey. He's also usually overestimated by everyone else. They're all just worried about Kisei because of how great Kisei is. And then people overlook him, and then he'll just start dominating whenever they don't really care or too focused on Kisei. And then for Shutoku, it is Kuzunari Takao, which, fun fact of the Mega House Kuroko's basketball figures, they did figures for all of the Generation of Miracles, plus Kagami and Takao. He is the only one of like the side people who got a figure.
Really? So that is interesting.
He
must be very popular.
He is the one that's always with Midorima. They always play rock, paper, scissors to see who's going to ride in the pool cart and who's going to ride the bike. Even if Takao wins, he's riding the bike.
A little bit of a spoiler for like
Mhm.
near the end of the series, but actually on the third poll, which goes up to chapter 254, Takao got third place.
Yeah,
Wow.
Takao is very popular. But he has an upgraded version of Izuki's Eagle Eye. He has the Hawkeye, which lets him see the entire court. Izuki can see like what's in front of him. Takao can see everything. He
He
also
can even
has
see that you're picking your
accurate
nose right
pass.
now. Yes, you're picking your nose. Stop it.
Am I?
No, not you, the person listening.
Oh, I was like, what? Uh,
Sorry, that was a bad joke. Continue
yeah, I
on,
was like,
Falcon.
what? But yeah, he's very popular. He has an accurate pass. It's pretty much just he very rarely misses his passes. I don't know why we have to make that like a special skill, but I guess it is a basketball anime.
Now, I will say that just because we're not talking about the other characters doesn't mean that they don't have their own little quirky personality traits about them. I really did like the quirky personality traits about like each character. Like there's a guy on Kisei's team who is like, oh, I just want a girl. I just want a girl to notice me. Kisei, after this is over, you got to introduce me to some girls, right, from your fan club.
Yeah.
And there's characters like that. They're just like quirky and stuff. There's some
Yeah,
annoying
that guy was
characters.
great. I love the moment when they're about to play Toho. He's like, look, I saw this really hot girl third from the left in this stand. It's like, they're not going to look at you. They're going to be looking at Kisei. Why must he be on this team? It's just like, sorry, bro. Like, what are you going to do about it? You have a legitimate model on your team. Like, it's going to happen.
And then like there's the scene no, I forget. Never mind. No, there's a scene where like they're losing and they're like, Kisei, if we win this, you better introduce me to some girls when they're fighting Toho. Like you better take me to like one of those like those karaoke bars and introduce me to some girls. I think he said that.
Yeah.
I just really like that scene. Kisei's team is great. He's a good team.
Yeah. Anyway, that should get us to the openings.
Well, actually, before that, let me talk about the popularity poll real quick.
Okay.
As I mentioned, there is 3 character polls. I kind of gave a little away for the third poll, but I'm not going to talk about that. But for the first poll, which goes up to chapter 71 in the manga, which is basically Kisei versus Aomine, the fight at the end of season 1. In first place, I think I'll read the first. I think I'll read the 10 places, up to 10, just because there's like 30. I don't want to read them all. Though I will say 30th place, last place is a tie between someone called Kenji Takeda. Do you know who that is? Kenji Takeda?
I don't think so.
Let me pull him up real quick. Oh, he's the old guy. Oh, he's the Seirin High basketball club advisor.
Oh, okay. I was like, the name's familiar, but I couldn't remember who he was. Yeah, that's
he is tied with Midorima's specialty made rolling pencil. I just want to mention that. Anyway, in first place with 2,626 votes, we have Tetsuya Kuroko.
Yay!
The main character is in first place. Who knew? In second place, Falcon. This one might surprise you. In second place with 1,478 votes, we have Shintaro Midorima.
Really? That really does surprise me.
I mean, and I will mention this now in second and third polls. He's sixth place, but
yeah,
I guess you must have been wrong. I guess the fans really liked him in the beginning.
Maybe. I mean, I was really big into the con scene when this was out, and I would never see a Midorima cosplayer. It would always be Kuroko or Kagami or Kisei or Aomine. Really, any of the Generation of Miracles or Kuroko or Kagami. Very rarely did you ever see anybody else. Except Midorima. I think out of the like 8 conventions I went to while this was airing, I saw one Midorima. And whenever I talked online, no one really talked about him. So I guess just no one really found him much to talk about, maybe. But he's always been one of my favorites.
Let us continue the poll. In third place with 1,116 votes, we have Taiga Kagami. In fourth place with 1,065 votes, we have Ryota Kisei. And in fifth place with 955 votes, we have Shoon Izuki.
My boy Izuki. Yeah, let's go.
Sixth place is Daiki Aomine. Seventh place is Kazunari Takeo. Eighth place is Junpei Hyuga. Ninth place is Riko Ida. And 10th place is Shinji Kogane. And if you want to see the popularity polls yourself, you can look it up on the Wikia page like I am right now. And with that being said, Falcon, let's jump right into let me rephrase that. Let's slam dunk right into the opening and endings.
You're name dropping other sports animes. I don't know that I appreciate, but I will allow it.
It's a basketball move. Leave me alone.
It is. I mean, it is, but there's also an anime called Slam Dunk.
The
it's very popular
for season 1. We have 2 openings and 2 endings.
Both the openings are by Grand Rodeo,
which are amazing band, by the way. You should give them a listening to when you can.
The first one is called Can Do. What did you think about Can Do, Condor?
I think we can do a great song with this one.
Yeah, we can. I really like Can Do. It's one of my favorites of the openings.
It's definitely action-packed. It definitely gets you excited for... Oh, geez, excuse me. It definitely gets you excited for like basketball. I'm like, oh god, it's time for basketball. You know,
that's one thing I really like about Kuroko. So just overall for every season, there are 7 openings. Grand Rodeo did all but 1, and all of them actually get you pumped up, except for the one that's not by Grand Rodeo. That one is probably my least favorite, but that's because it's a very different. All of Grand Rodeos are exciting, thrilling.
Grand Rodeo makes Kuroko.
And then the one that's not is more like supposed to be like a flashback kind of thing. So it's kind of got this weird vibe to it. There was like this 2 or 3 episode flashback sequence in season 3 that had them, and I didn't care for that opening that much. But it's still fine. Just it wasn't the usual hype I experienced. But yeah, I really like Grand Rodeo Can Do a lot, and I do think I enjoyed a little bit better than the second one, which is Rimfire
by Grand Rodeo. I actually gonna have to disagree with you there. I think I liked Rimfire better. For music wise,
my favorite one still hasn't come. My favorite one's in season 2 that they've done.
Visually wise, they're both pretty equal visually wise.
I do think I like the animation on Rimfire better. I just prefer the Can Do song. But Rimfire is still great. I like all of these. I listen to them all the time.
Yeah. I don't blame you. I think when I first listened to Kuroko's Basket when I was younger, I think I was jamming out to these all the time too. I should really get back into it personally. But the opening, the second opening, it showed Murasaki Bara playing basketball, even though they never had that happen in the second half of season 1, which is weird to add. You know, it's weird.
I mean, he comes in at the very end, but they also show Akashi, who doesn't actually get like fully revealed until season 3. Like, we see like little snips of him in flashbacks throughout, but we never really have him meet everybody until then. But he's even in the second opening.
Weird choice, I'll say. It's a weird choice. Ending theme.
The first ending theme is
Started right away by Hidane.
Wait, is that the guy who did the openings for Nichijou?
I don't know. Is it?
I think so.
Well, while Falcon's talking about that, I'm going to be honest with everybody listening to this podcast right now. I kind of let Netflix do its thing, and I kind of let it skip all the ending theme, and I literally just listened to the ending themes before the podcast today.
They're fine.
They're fine. I guess I like the first one more than the second one. The second one being Katal Rhythm by Old Codex. You want to give these songs a listen to, you can just give them all YouTube search. That's what I did.
I was correct. Hidane was the guy who did the openings for Nichijou.
Whoa.
Hidane's actually really cool.
You're really cool.
I don't like his ending for Kuroko that much. It's fine.
It's fine.
But if you compare it, especially like the Nichijou stuff, no, the Nichijou stuff's way better.
They're probably like, yo, Hidane, we need you to make a quick song for a basketball anime. Probably. I've never watched basketball my entire life. Okay, here we go. And then he just put this song on. I'm not saying it's bad. It's fine.
Yeah. And then the second ending is,
as I mentioned, is Katal Rhythm by Old Codex.
I think I preferred this one out of the 2 endings, but visually, not by much.
I'll agree visually, but I think I like the first one more. I like the first ending and the second opening. You like the first opening and the second ending. We're divided. I don't like this.
I feel like we usually are a little bit on openings. We both like all of them most of the time, unless there's one that's just really bad. Then we both agree that one's really bad. But
like Spice and Wolf.
Yeah. That episode's actually gotten a lot more views lately, but I'll talk about that later. It's not important right now.
Wow. It's probably Fox just watching it multiple times. How dare they hate Spicy Wolf?
But yeah, Yeah, but anyway, that is pretty much it for the music. Anything else you feel you need to say?
Well, I mean, the actual music in the anime was all right too. It was pretty good for a basketball anime, but I didn't really focus on it. I was too busy looking at the cool basketball moves to focus on the music, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
Because I mean, if you're watching real basketball, they don't really have background music, so you kind of just focus on the
You
ball.
just hear the squeaking and the thuds of the dribbling and all of that.
Honestly, hearing the squeaking was very pleasing to me for some reason.
Oh, I love it. Every time they do it is great.
It just makes it more realistic,
Yeah, I feel like it would be really weird if it wasn't there, just because it's very much just like it would be like, wait, why are we not hearing like their sneakers running? Like we've all run on the gym floor with sneakers. We know it squeaks. Like I think it would just be really off-putting if it wasn't.
Kuroko's basket, but instead of the regular squeaky shoes, it's the squeaky shoes from SpongeBob.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right. Well, I guess that we should be moving on. That's our thoughts on the music. Let's say we talk about our question. Our week question.
Mm-hmm.
Well, today we have two. I'm asking a question, and Falcon's asking a question because since this is a banner anime, we thought we should make this a special one, making it a little bit longer. Probably not as long as Fire Force or March Comes In Like a Lion, but it'll be long.
March was so long.
Oh God, I can't wait for those manga you showed me yesterday. Finally being released in 2022. God, I can't wait to go broke.
Right.
But the first question. And I'm going to ask Falcon to have this asked first, and I'll answer it. Do you think a professional basketball player would like this anime?
I think season 1, maybe. Season 2 and 3, I don't think so.
I'm going to 100% agree with you on that.
So the thing about Kuroko is it starts off fairly realistic with just like a few things here and there that are weird. But season 2 and 3, it gets...
Stop. It's anime time.
Crazy. Yeah, pretty much. It gets very anime. Like people talk about, when Kuroko does his ignite pass, there's a laser beam that follows behind the ball. And I'm like, I don't think there's genuinely a laser beam behind the ball. I think that's just an effect to make it look cooler, Because I mean, like, otherwise, what are you going to do? He punched the ball and you just see it move faster. Like, that's just an effect. Or like there's an ability later on where people have these like trails of light coming from their eye. Like there's not really trails of light coming from their eye, but it gets very anime as the seasons go on. But I think season 1 they would like because it is fairly realistic with even just like how they play, how they foul, the rules of the game. Later on though, it is kind of more, here's all these crazy things that light trails and laser beams, which they might totally like that, but I feel like it would be harder if they're not already into the kind of sort of anime cartoon kind of fan base already. Might be a little bit more difficult for them to appreciate.
I agree. I'm gonna have to say the same thing basically with season 1. I feel like they would probably appreciate that more. It's more realistic, and as we mentioned, there's like a laser BBI thing. We're not gonna get into it now. If we ever do season 2, we probably will.
We'll do season 2.
I feel like I will. I will say season 1 was definitely more enjoyable. I feel like a basketball player could probably watch it. It's a good way to get more probably into the basics and to understanding how basketball is done in Japan as well. Probably more interesting if you're like into it as well. Maybe even any sports fan would probably like this. I know I will say for a fact that after watching this anime, I got more into watching basketball because this came out during when I was in high school. And sometimes at high school, there'll be basketball games. I would actually go to the basketball games and watch them. They were very interesting for me. Obviously, I don't remember them now, of course, but I remember one time we did so well in our high school. We went to like one of the big stadiums. Like I think we were going to go to TD Garden at one point, and it was really exciting. It was really hype, and it was just really fun to just do that once in a while, even though it's technically not my type of crowd, but it was nice.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, no, I agree. I've never been like a big fan of watching sports. If I watch sports, I have to be like at the stadium or arena to like really get into it. If I'm watching it on TV, I just get bored. But if I'm actually there, the whole atmosphere makes it fun. But after Kuroko's basketball, I actually did start watching March Madness that year, and I think I watched some of it the next year. I didn't watch like every game, just whenever I could catch it on if I caught it. And the first year it came out, I still didn't really know anything about basketball, but I had some college friends were like, "Hey, we're doing March Madness, and like the winner gets $5. Like, and you should enter it." And I was like, "All right, sure, why not?" So this came out and I was watching it, and I totally just made guesses on teams and ended up winning the March Madness bracket that year, which made everybody mad because they were all like super into basketball. And I was literally just like picking like names of teams that sounded cooler, or like, well, I don't know much about basketball, but I know this team is like always really, really good. I almost one bracket I almost had a clean sweep. I had the final pick for that year, UK versus, I want to say like Duke or something. But I had Louisville get beat out by the person right like in the semifinals. But if I would have done Louisville winning that one and going to the final, I would have had like one section of the bracket like completely correct. But yeah, apparently everyone else was like super wrong, and I got super close, so I was not asked to play again next year. But
very sad.
They spent hours like over stats, and I was just like, this team's called Wake Forest. That sounds cool. I'll put them over this school that sounds stupid, you know. And it's like apparently they're actually pretty good. I didn't know it, but yeah, I was the only one. I think like halfway through, I was the only one left who could still had a chance of winning, like of doing well. So it's like, you won already. We already know.
Very interesting.
It was just waiting to see how right I was. It was fun. But yeah, so we kind of agreed on that. So I'll ask the next one, which is our more weeb question of the day, because we have to have some weeb question.
Why you're saying I'm not weeb? You're the one who's dressed out like the freaking character, you weeb.
That's why I'm the one asking the weeb question. Duh. But no, so out of all of the Generation of Miracles, out of all of them, even the two we haven't seen yet, but you've seen the show, so you kind of know what they do.
I forget what the purple hair guy's power is. His blocking?
Yeah, he's like super defense guy.
And then is it just Akashi is just really good at being a leader?
Yeah, he's just the most weird. He's like a leader, but it's just the way I've always taken it, he admits such a presence and such a ferocity to him that he can make people kind of inadvertently do whatever he wants them to do. But out of all of their powers, which one do you think you would want to have ideally if you could have one of these godly basketball skills?
Well, Almeida's just all around good at the game.
He's an all arounder.
He
he's just
have
a
beast. Powder.
Yeah.
I mean, and technically he's out because he doesn't have a power.
I mean, well, he's just ungodly. He's just an ungodly.
But that's not
prodigy.
A power. That's
no,
just
but they consider
really
it a power.
They're
all prodigies, and he's like the all-arounder prodigy. So if you,
I'm gonna have to say Kisei then, because I like the copy thing personally. Honestly, I think it's really cool if I can like analyze someone. I could copy it. Maybe I could, after copying it, I could kind of add that to my own basketball game, like to maybe improve myself after I copy it. But yeah, I would say Kisei. What about you? And why is it Midorima?
Well, I have two. So
you can't see. You gotta do one.
No, I think realistically, if I were to play, I would subscribe to Midorima's policy about.
Speaking of subscribing, make sure to subscribe to the podcast to see updates for more updates for when we upload every Wednesday.
Yeah, or Thursday this week because I got busy. Apologies, but yeah, I feel like if I were actually playing, I would subscribe to the theory of if I can shoot it from farther away more often and get it in most of the time, if not every time, that's going to be the best way to play the game. But if I could just have like a fun one, I would have Kuroko, because I have been told by numerous people I'm fairly forgettable and I never believed them.
Who are you?
Yeah, right. And then I found out later they were like totally correct. So I feel like I have either a similar issue of Kuroko where I don't have too much presence, or I just am not memorable enough for people to remember that I could probably pass that off if I really wanted to. But I'd most likely would be.
You're beginning Eagle Cherry, right?
What?
You're beginning Eagle Cherry, right?
Eagle Cherry, okay.
I couldn't think of anything that's like
I was like, cherry was the weirdest one to pick.
I couldn't think of anything that's the weird of a berry. Leave me alone. All right, should we get on to our favorite moments, our favorite games?
Yeah, we can move on.
So, as if you haven't found out by now, which we actually haven't really mentioned it, unless you mentioned at the beginning, I don't remember. Kuroko's Basket is a shonen anime.
It is a shonen anime.
Shonen anime. It isn't Shonen Jump. That is just why it is super popular. And basically, there's no fights unless you want to consider fights the games where they dribble the ball and shoot the ball. You know,
right?
I would say my favorite game would probably be from season 1. Would be the last one. It was Almine versus Kisei's team. I really like that game. I think it was interesting to see two people that were not the generation, that was not Kuroko's team playing, to see how they played against each other. I really like that. I really like seeing Kisei copy Almine at the end, doing the perfect copy. I think that's what they called it. which takes like basically half of the whole one of the whole periods to like try to copy him. And he did like, oh, it was so cool to see him copying it. It was great. Had Almine like shook for like a little bit. It was great to see Almine like panic. It was just fun.
Mm-hmm.
I really liked it. What would you say your favorite game is of season 1 of Falcon?
Honestly, it's the game. I think one of my favorites is the game against the really annoying guy. I always forget their team name.
Oh, I hate that
because
guy.
I genuinely love seeing. So this is the game right before they, if I'm remembering correctly, sometimes like the games not with the Generation of Miracle players kind of can get swapped around in my head because they're usually a lot quicker. It's one of the few games where Kogane and Kuroko really aren't used that much. So we get to see the actual Seirin team from the year before that was still really good and got to I think it was the final round of, they made it to the championship series and then they lost there. Like I think they got destroyed, but they made it there, which for a first year team is near impossible. We actually got to see them play more with their skill set they had the year before, which was fun. And then of course they pull Kuroko and Kogame in the end to help win. But I really enjoy seeing the other players excel because we focus so much on the Generation of Miracles that it's nice letting them have their moment to where they still are just dominating.
That's right. It was good to see. And that annoying guy was. Oh, I probably hate him as much as I hate that freaking. Oh, what's his name?
Guy from Fate.
Fate's Day. Yeah.
What's the name? Like Show or something? Now that doesn't sound right, but I know who you're talking about. Annoying blue-haired guy who's just like,
oh. It starts with an S, like Shido's name, right?
Maybe, yeah.
I don't. It has the same name as the main character of Neon Genesis Evangelion. I don't remember. Anyway, not important.
Shinji.
Shinji. Yes, his name's Shinji. I hate him just as much as I hate Shinji because he's so annoying.
I don't hate him as much as Shinji, but yeah,
he's
very aggravating.
Very aggravating. I mean, Shinji like kind of added nothing to the show. So this guy also added nothing to the show. Just an annoyance.
Yeah. I mean, he was just kind of there to make Kuroko somewhat mad. What school did you even come from? Like, your school. We were on the same team. Like, I started every game. Did you start every game? I don't think so. But yeah, which Kuroko doesn't like say that out. He's just like, oh, nice to meet you. And it's like, didn't you go to school with him? Yeah. Like, Kuroko just doesn't really care. But yeah, I liked that game a lot. Any other games or moments that you enjoyed?
I mean, I guess I liked the game. What was Almine versus Kuroko when they got completely destroyed? That was cool to see.
Mm-hmm.
It was like the first game where they got like absolutely like bonked hard.
They'd been able to like win their way out of every situation, but Almine was just the first one that they just weren't ready for.
It kind of because I remember watching the anime, so obviously they end up beating him again. Spoiler alert! But I'm kind of now, but this makes me think: how are they gonna do it? Like I don't remember how they do it, but I think maybe now that I'm piecing the pieces together, I think I remember how. I
have an idea of remembering exactly what it is, but it's been a few years
when we
since
go back to when we go to watch season 2, I'm gonna be really looking forward to that. I'm gonna be like, how are they gonna beat him? Like what are they gonna do? How are they?
That was like the big draw of season 2.
Yeah. Yeah, but I didn't like that fight too, to see like the power gap between someone who's super good, you know.
Mm-hmm.
What about you? Any other favorite games of season 1, Mr. Falcon?
I mean, I like the Shitoku game. That's just a fun one.
Yeah,
but I do think I probably no, I'd say I prefer that over the first game they have with Kisei. But I do enjoy the Kisei Almine fight, same as you. I think that's probably my second favorite from the series.
All right.
Because it's just an all-around great game. Even though I don't really like Almine that much, like he's still fine. He's a beast. He's fun to watch. Otherwise, just for actual favorite moments,
the moment where Kuroko's talking about the meteor falling on the stadium when he was fighting Shitoku.
Yeah, I love that. He's like, no, we can't give up. You never know. We could always find a way to win, even if in the last second a meteor comes and hits the opponent's team's bench. And they all give him this look. And Kuroko doesn't joke, so he's dead serious about it. And they're just like, what?
What? That's probably my favorite moment.
I love when they first find Kuroko too. Or
the
Tetsuya
doggy.
Yeah. And they give him his own little jersey. Which I always found fun, amusing. They just made him a doggy Seirin jersey. I guess they just take care of him at the school because you never see him like get taken home with anybody.
No, maybe
he's always at the gym.
Maybe that's shown more in the manga. I'm not entirely
Maybe.
sure about that. But
I mean, like
he's
they
always
even
there.
take him to the games in Kuroko's little
Little bag.
duffel bag, which I just find fun. But yeah, that I like. I'm not a big dog fan in real life, but I really like Tetsuya too. He's fun.
Would you want to Tetsuya too, Falcon?
Sure, maybe.
Would you like a Falcon too?
Falcon too.
Falcon
I don't want a second Falcon. No, but Tetsuya too's fun.
I think a second me would be amazing.
Condor too. Oh.
I'll call him Little Chimpy.
Okay.
It's a callback.
Okay. Any other favorite moments?
No, it's basically just basketball.
Yeah, I mean,
you know what? No, I'm not thinking about the basketball moments. I like the scene. So Kogame, but he's actually a really good cook. He can cook a really mean curry.
Oh, the curry scene. Yeah, you broke up a little bit.
The curry scene was really good when he was teaching Rico how to cook.
Mm-hmm.
And then they find out, why is it so bad? Why does it taste so bad? Oh, because I put all these this all good protein and medicine in it to make it good. That's why it's been horrible this whole time.
Yeah, I love it's like Kogame show where it's like I did. I even tasted it. It seemed fine. And then it's like Kuroko's like, I thought it was good. It's like, wait, Kuroko, did you plate your own? Yeah, you all forgot about me again. And then it's like, here, Rico, plate another one. And it's like, wait, it's like, then I just sprinkled this. And it's like, wait, what are you sprinkling in? Oh, just a bunch of vitamins. Like, what? It's like, no wonder it tasted so bad. It was like, yeah, Kuroko didn't get any because he just made his own. But yeah.
That's right.
Otherwise, yeah, this series very much focuses on the basketball. It's a very fast-paced show, which I kind of enjoy. It's not. I like a lot of really slow-paced shows, but then I appreciate this one for just being speed honestly, all the time.
During the later half, it kind of focused more on the matches. Like the first match between Kisei and Kuroko, mm-hmm. It didn't really it kind of just showed the first half, and then that's it. They didn't really focus on anything else.
It showed the first half, then just Kisei and Kogame trading blows essentially for the rest of it.
I didn't like that. I wish they showed more into it.
Yeah, I mean, but also that's not supposed to be that's important. The first fight. Yeah.
Yeah, but they should have highlighted it more to see more of the abilities of the characters, in my opinion. I feel like that's something that kind of lacked. I kind of felt like why is it so short? I think they did that with the Midorima fight as well. They made it a little shorter than I remember. I think they skipped the whole, I think the third quarter? I don't remember.
Yeah, the third quarter is just where Shutoku was dominating because they had Kogame out resting.
But I want to see that.
Yeah.
I don't want them to skip it. I want to see that. Maybe it's in the manga. Maybe they skipped it for the anime. Mm-hmm. I don't know.
They do a lot of cut shots of just Midorima and his team just getting goals. And you'll see Seirin getting a few here or there. But yeah, but also I feel the way it is, basketball games are really long or can be really long. So I feel like they came out with this is how they want the game to go. There's going to be one spot, especially with each new generation of Miracle, where Seirin's just getting destroyed. And do we really need to spend a whole episode or half an episode of them just getting dunked on the whole time?
Yes.
I mean, for runtime, no. I feel like if they slowed it down, the pacing would get a little weird. I do agree. I wish there were times we would see more, because especially if Kuroko or Kogame is out, that's usually where they kind of speed it up a little bit. Which is why I enjoyed the game where they were out for the majority of it, because we did get to see more just actual, here's Hyuga and Izuki and Mitobae, and here's how they actually play, and here's how they actually got to where they did the last year, because you never really showed us before. Which that was also important for just reaffirming to Kuroko and Kogame in the first years that hey, our seniors are actually really good. We can rely on them. It doesn't have to just be us two carrying this team. But I actually really like the pacing. I think the pacing is actually really where I want it to be. We had a really good, fast-paced 3 seasons, and then we're done.
I didn't like the beginning of the season 1's pacing, but then when it got into more of the matches of the high, I felt like the pacing got more to what I like. I like to see the game in all its fury. That's why basketball. I'm here to see the whole basketball game. I want to see it all. I don't want anything to be skipped. That's why.
Then you would have literally 2 games a season, and this would be going on for 10 seasons.
Perfect.
I feel like that would be a little.
Just what I want.
I feel like that'd be a little too slow. But I mean, I even like slow-paced things. I love .hack sign. That is the slowest paced anime of all time. But I like how fast this one is. I personally wouldn't change it. I acknowledge that you disagree. I do agree there are some fights we saw more. But yeah, I mean, we don't even really get too many episodes just like Seirin doing things outside of games. It's they train for a game and they start the game later on that episode. Or
that's the anime.
The training camp we spent like 2 episodes on, I think.
Which I was fine with that. I like that.
Yeah.
It's good to get the training.
But that was
I like that.
they were out of the tournament right now. They were training for the next one, and oh hey, let's go watch this next match while we're here. You know, so I'm cool with that. But well, yeah, once the tournament started, it's pretty much game, which I'm cool with.
Doesn't the Winter High basically the rest of the anime?
Most of it. So the start of the next season, they've got the preliminaries, and I think the preliminaries is another one. They're not really facing too many like major teams, so they kind of just speed through it a little bit. I think there's was that team because it was the team of cheaters, and I don't remember if that's in the preliminary or if that's when they're actually in the Winter Cup.
I guess we're watching season 2 right now. I'm kidding.
I know right now. I mean, part of me wants to just wait till it's on Netflix again, and then we can just keep going whether we watch it on Netflix or not.
We'll see.
But you know,
I'd like to continue it maybe in a month or 2, maybe 3 months.
Okay. I mean, I'm cool with that. I'm at least down to watch Kuroko.
But I don't know how long it'll take the second half of the ReZero anime to be dubbed. It hasn't even started yet.
Oh, it hasn't? Ooh.
Yeah, I don't know. It's already on the animes are on like episode 8 of the second core or episode 9. Episode 9. Yeah, anyway, really we don't really need to talk spoilers because we've pretty much been talking. It's basketball. You don't really.
Yeah, I mean it's basketball. A team's gonna win. A team's gonna lose.
One team lose. Yeah, basically. Yeah. So I guess we can go into our recommendations. Would we recommend it and our rating? Falcon, why don't you start us off?
Okay. So as I've said, this is in my top 3. Actually, probably just my top 2 favorite anime of all time. My third spot's kind of been wavering between 2 shows right now.
Like a Lion.
Yeah. So my original top 3, and I never have ever ordered them because I like them all for different reasons. My usual top 3 are Clannad, Kuroko's Basketball, Code Geass. But Code Geass is, I'm debating if I want to put March comes in instead of Code Geass. But it's another one of those. I like them for similar reasons, but I can't decide which one I like more.
Just have them both be third place.
Yeah, I have a third place tie. I think Kuroko is a great not a great basketball. It is a great basketball anime, but I feel like it's a good anime overall. If you're wanting to try the sports anime, this was one of the first few I tried. I did watch some of Prince of Tennis, like in high school, but it was really hard to find. And then they started dubbing it, but the dub was one of like the worst dubs I've ever heard. Yikes. And it didn't even like finish airing its first season. I think they took it off before that happened. So I played tennis in high school, so I already knew the rules and whatnot. It was fun. But Kuroko was the sports anime that got me into sports anime. And it was that way for a lot of people. Because like I said before, we didn't really have too much. We had like Slam Dunk published. We had a soccer one called Whistle that did okay, but no one ever really talked about it, but you always saw it at the bookstores. And then we had like Prince of Tennis, and that was pretty much it. Hikaru no Go, if you can count Go as a sport.
Shogi? No, what was that?
That is Go.
No, that wasn't Shogi. Aye. Sorry, my mind.
Which that's always been what I've wanted to get into, and I just keep putting off.
I think I remember watching episodes like that were on like Adult Swim or something, or was it the Funimation channel? I don't remember. But
it's a Viz property. It's a Shonen Jump one, so it's probably
the main character like blonde hair, right?
Yeah, it's like he's bangs are bleached, but then he's got like the black in the back. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've always been into it. And he has like some like spear that helps him out or something. I don't know. I've never read it.
That sounds like Spear. Shaman King.
Yeah. So I was like, it was like a sports version of Shaman King almost. Which is actually coming back, and I'm really excited for that reboot. But anyway, I would recommend Kuroko's Basketball if you're wanting to give the sports anime a try. The problem with sports anime is most people skip it because they're not a fan of sports. But what people don't realize is most sports anime is incredibly character focused. Like if you look at a Haikyuu or a Yawa Pedal, half your time is spent with the characters growing and developing, and then half the time on sports. Kuroko's not quite as much. Kuroko is kind of more just here's the basketball and they're going to grow during the basketball game. So you don't get as many like we're going to go eat at a restaurant scenes or we're going to go look for anime and Akihabara type deal. It's more just training and basketball, which I enjoy. Its pacing is very fast. The one thing I will say is some people have said it gets too intense later on. Like I was trying to talk somebody into it and I showed them a scene from a later season. We're talking about season 1. I know. I'm just saying just overall as a whole. But as of season 1, I think it's a great place to jump in if you want to give sports anime a try. Honestly, I'd give the sub, I think, a 10 out of 10 rating. I really like everything about it. The dub would probably get an 8.5 to 9 because there are just some voices that kind of on it. But Kuroko, for what I want Kuroko to be, checks every box I want it to be. every other sports anime I've seen hasn't quite checked everything I want. But for me, like Kuroko was that one show that I could probably have on repeat and never get tired of it. I just genuinely like it that much. How about yourself, Condor? What would you rate Kuroko?
So you said 8.5 for the dub, but 10 out of 10 in general.
Yeah, for the sub, I think 10 out of 10. I think it's pretty much perfect.
Well, the only difference between the sub and the dub is just the voices, really.
Yeah,
So
that's why I said
overall,
8.5
it's still a
to
10 out of 10.
9.
My rating is just going to be like in the series in general, not the dub notwithstanding, you know.
Mhm.
But yeah. So Kuroko's Basket was actually the first sports anime I watched because I was in the same mindset as it's sports. I don't like it. I'm never gonna
Mhm.
watch it. So, but I'm like, you know what, basketball would be cool to watch. Maybe I should just give it a try and check it out, see if I'd like it or not. So I gave it a watch. I really enjoyed it. So just as you said, it's character driven as well. And I always do like seeing characters being improved upon, seeing themselves just become better people, better understanding situations more. I really like that with Kuroko's Basket, especially with season 1. I feel like season 1 was a good start for that. I really enjoy what I watched. The basketball element was really great to see. So I think sports fans, if you're trying to get into anime, you should definitely give this one a watch. Even if you're a beginning anime fan, hey, give Kuroko's Basket. It's a shonen. It's beginner friendly. They'll definitely like it. I want to give this anime, especially for season 1. I think I'm gonna give season 1 a 7.5 out of 10.
Okay.
But for the anime overall, I want to give it an 8 out of 10 from what I remember. It's been so long since I watched season 2 and 3, and me and Falcon still haven't watched the movie either, so we don't know what happens with that. But for season 1, 7.5, in general, an 8. But I mean, that opinion can change if when we watch season 2 and season 3, because I haven't watched season 2 and season 3 since I think I was watching
originally aired.
I think season 3. I got into the series when season 3 was being aired currently. So I'm gonna say a 7.5 out of 10. Would definitely recommend for sports fans, beginning fans, veteran fans. It's just a good series. You should give it a watch if you like basketball. Heck, you don't even have to pay that much attention if you just want to put it on the screen. Just do that. And you watch it like every snippets. So there you go. So I would say. And with that being said, that's our rating. Because we don't really need to do a spoilers talk, as I mentioned, because we kind of talked about it overall.
I mean, it's really hard to spoil this unless you just talk about the abilities they unlock in the future. But we'll talk about that when they happen.
I actually look forward to that. But next week, Falcon doesn't know what we're watching.
No, I don't. It's been a secret.
I like isekais. I think isekai is probably my favorite genre. No,
we're watching Sword Art Online.
This isn't ReZero. No, we're not watching SAO. Today they announced something that really made me happy.
Oh, I think I know what you're talking about.
They announced that they are making a season 2 for My Devil is a Part-Timer, which I love that anime. Hyped. I watched that anime when it came out. I loved it so much. I always wanted a season 2 because it originally was a light novel. I didn't know that at the time, obviously, but and they never released a season 2. And they finally announced today that they showed a preview, I think, and they have like a picture of season 2. So because of that, for next week, we will be watching the first season of My Devil is a Part-Timer.
We're gonna watch 13 the devil episodes. Working at McDonald's. I tweeted that announcement on our Twitter page before we started.
Nice.
What? I was like,
totally accurate information. Who knew? But we will be watching that.
The publisher of the March Comes Like a Lion manga liked our retweet.
What? Yeah. Oh, let's go!
We're the only people who liked it because we don't have many people following us. So you should follow us on Twitter at BirdBroPod. That's where we keep up to date with all fun news and updates regarding the podcast and just whatever fun anime things we find that we want to tweet about. Also, of course, you can find our whole podcast, every episode, on birdbropod.podbean.com, and you can also look up our channel on YouTube for the video version, which is just Bird Brothers Podcast. You can also find me on Twitch some. I've been taking a little bit of a break, but Final Falconberry, that's where it's at. You can find it there. We also have a Discord that you can join by clicking the link in the episode description or copying and pasting that into your browser. Should work. And if for some reason it doesn't work, ping us on Twitter. That's the best way to tell us. But we hope you all have enjoyed it. Next week, we are watching The Devil is a Part-Timer. We hope you all enjoyed this. Hope your day goes well. Condor, please end the stream.
You're the one who's recording it.
You don't want to say goodbye to the people or anything?
Goodbye, everybody. And
Goodbye, everybody.
remember, the zone is not real.
The zone is not real. What zone? All right, later, guys.